Good morning, everyone. Am I unmuted? Let's make sure we're unmuted. Yeah, we're good to go. All right. Sorry, y'all. I have a complete and total panic when it comes to being unmuted now. Ooh, it was a little bit of a rush to get into the studio today. So, you know, the imperfection, the heat, the fire, the candle. So I'm gonna light my candle, but it just dawned on me that I don't want it right here, so I'm gonna pick it up. I've got a plant candle holder and my very special candle. It's from a shop called the Scent Queens in Chicago, and they make all their own candles, and it's amazing. So you can choose to light your candle, come on, at the beginning or not. It's up to you. We're going to use it towards the end of class, but I just thought it'd be nice to have it going as we started off today. Where do you want to be? I'm going to put you right over here. Like, just don't catch the plants on fire. All right. How are we doing? How are we doing? All right. You can hear. Oh, it just feels like this week has been so long, and I thought I was very, very hot. Hold on. I'm going to take a layer down. All the things. Enjoy the train as it goes by. All right, you all. I think we're good to go. Let's begin just moving our bodies. All right, I have a ball. I've got some different block sorts of things. I have my pillow. You could use a strap. It's just whatever you need to assist you in these stretches. All right, yes, you can hear me, good. Dick, we will keep you supported today so you don't miss Colleen too much. My heart. And to everyone else, I hope we will just have a really nice recovery session together. Yeah, shall we? So actually, let's start with a bit of a wider stance, just a little bit of hip-width distance apart. We're gonna make our way down to the mat, but I thought it'd be nice to just progress to the mat versus suddenly finding ourselves there. So let's just begin with a little roll down. We're gonna bring our chin towards our throat, and we're just peeling forward, getting our little timer on to make sure I know where we are. So as we're down to the bottom, we're just letting our head hang. You can soften your knees, unlocking them. Feel your footprints get a little bit heavier. If you can bring your hands down to the mat, then go for it. And just breathe along the length of your back. Good. And then let's go ahead and bend our knees a little deeper and seeing if we can pour a little more weight into the soles of our feet. And then stretch your legs up a little bit, seeing if you can get a little hamstring length. Good. We'll go again, bending down. And stretching up. Let's do two more like this. Just bend your knees down. Stretch. And last one. Letting those shoulder blades be heavy. Begin to roll up. Unlock your knees if you'd like. Curl your tailbone under. Come all the way up to the top. We're going to stay standing for a moment, reaching your right arm down along the side of your right leg, bringing your left arm up, and if you can bring it up to the place where you can just rest it heavily on the side of your rib cage, that's ideal. We'll take a deep breath in. Exhale, maybe let your head go over a little bit more, and then we're going to push down through the left leg into the ground in an effort to bring ourselves up to the center, and then reverse. So we'll slide down one side, bringing it all the way up. Breathe into that outside. Exhale. Coming all the way back up. All right, we're going to do this again. We're going to come over to the side. Breath into the left side. This time, bend your knees, round forward, take your hands on your knees, curl your tail under, and just let your back stretch out for a moment. And then take it over to the other side, let your head go. Breathe into that right lung. And then come all the way up, little chest lift at the top, and then go over to the left. So even if you're not sure how to breathe into one lung, just try. Let's round it forward. Curl your tail under, open up your low back, open up your neck. send it over to the other side. Find your lung, breathe. And come all the way up. And little chest lift. Bring your arms out to the side. So we're gonna go little bend as we side bend over. Reach forward, maybe a round shape as you take that stretch forward. Reach over to the side. All the way up, chest lift. Over to the left. Bring it to the side. Round it forward, reach forward, stretch between your shoulder blades. Take it over to the other side. Lift your heart, chest lift. And again, over. The holiday train is coming soon, so I'm just peeking, seeing if we can catch it. Take it out to the side. And then reach. I don't think it runs in the morning, but I've been surprised by it today. Santa's on it. Reach forward, Santa. Good. All the way to the side. And then lift your heart up. Turn your palms down, chest wide. Bring a little bit of tension between your shoulder blades, and let's narrow the stance. Just a little circling of the arms, a little circling of the arms. And I'm just kind of patting out my feet. I know most of us have dogs, and sometimes they do it, but if you've ever seen a cat kind of scratching, that's kind of the action that I'm doing with my feet, just to get them into the ground, you know? Bringing a little warmth to the shoulders before we start to stretch. I don't know about you, but yesterday was enough for me. I was a little tanked this morning. Good. Let's reverse the direction of our shoulders, and you're just taking kind of haphazard steps. Nothing too precious. Just moving around as we do it. Reaching and stretching your fingertips. Good. All right, we're going to take a wide stance. Swing your left arm over to the right. Swing your right arm over to the left. Let this be a fluid motion of your spine, yeah? We're going to pick up the pace. Reach, reach. So the fluidity that you allow yourself to have, you know, not only is it a great way to just let go of things that really don't need to be a part of this moving experience. You know, if you get tension, if you got little disruptive thoughts, it's also a good way to kind of warm up. I like to think of it just clearing the space. Let's take these arms a little bit overhead. So you're gonna throw, throw, throw. There's not a whole lot of technique here. Again, we're just warming up our bodies. Good. Enjoying it. Shaking it out. Good. And then we're gonna do the opposite. So we just went up and over. We're gonna go around. You have to kind of stop and find it. Just giving your chest an opportunity to open up. And again, these little kind of padding steps with your feet, just getting a little mobility into your ankle. Breathing your breath. And last two. And last one. Take it out nice and wide. Let's take both hands over to that right leg. Finding that inner thigh stretch on the left. If it's possible, see if you can flex your left foot up. It might get into your calf a little bit more. You could also turn the leg out a little if it's possible. If it feels a little flimsy or not strong, don't go there. Just find the stretch that is increased for you. And then let's take it over to the other side. Even these out. Finding a little flex in your foot. Maybe a little turn out. On this side it feels a little more supported. Good. All right, let's come back down to the center. We're gonna go ahead and make our way down to a seated position. Now you could sit on your yoga block, you could sit on your seat, your own. You could sit on your bolster or your pillow if you like. Whatever you need right now is completely up to you. We'll be all right here. Although, sometimes a little bit of grace can't hurt, you know? All right, so we're gonna do just a little breathing exercise like I promised, and then we're gonna go into a bit more stretching for lots of hips and shoulders today. So to start, we want to take our first and second finger and bring it down right underneath your cheekbone, okay? So you can feel your cheekbone on the side. You want to just bring it down. It's almost as if you're trying to push your cheekbone up. So that's where the first hand is. Now remember that the touch is definite, but it's certainly not feathery or light, and it's also not so hard that it's causing pain, okay? So we're gonna do one finger here, or two fingers there, and then your other hand takes your nose, and you're just gonna kind of gently pull your two hands apart. And so you're doing kind of this action to create a little space around the triangle area of your sinuses. Once we do it, we're gonna do 6 breaths on this side, and then on the other side, and then we'll move on, okay? So find those fingers underneath, find on the top, feel the tension between them, just kind of tugging them apart, and then let's breathe in and out through the nose. 6 full breaths. Finishing your last one, and just releasing, and try to take a breath in. Hopefully feel a little more whoosh up in the one side, and we'll go ahead and do the other side too. So this is just, it's kind of stimulating some space, reminding your body that there's more than just the one channel it's trying to breathe through, and this can be particularly useful if you're congested. So take it down, much better than Sudafed in my opinion. Bring it under the cheek, and then take it out to the side. All right, so find that little stretch, and then breathe 6 times. I'm extra moisturized for the winter, so my fingers are slipping. Up your last one, shake it out. Hopefully that feels better. I know it feels like I'm getting in so much more oxygen for myself, so I hope you feel the same way. Let's bring our feet into a diamond. If you can bring the soles of your feet together, go for it. And if you're on a yoga block, you can probably stay there for this stretch. So we're gonna go back into our side bends. Just slide your right hand out and feel the arc of your body from your sits bones through the crown of your head. We're gonna reach the top arm nice and high. And then I want you to pull down a little bit. We're not coming all the way up again, but we're just kind of easing in and out of it to try to bring a little more stretch into the torso. Pulling it up, reaching it out. Let's do 2 more. Pulling it up, reach it. Last one. Thank you, Joy. I think I will. And reach all the way over, hold. And then from here, just rotate your chest towards your thigh, towards your knee. If you can bring your hand to the ground, great. The idea is to get a little stretch around your shoulder blade. So I kind of do a little spider finger walk away to see if I can find that stretch. And then as you breathe in, just open up your back. As you breathe out, see if you can turn yourself a little bit closer towards your thigh. Last one. We're going to recover, open out to the side, and then lift all the way up. I'm just getting this intense signal from my body like, I needed this. Take it over. Hi, Flash. Come here. Side bend in your stretch. We pull it in. Come here, buddy. Come say hi. I see you. I know you want to. Nope. You're too comfortable. It's always interesting. I just find that like navigating through my 40s, but also through my mentality as a mover, like things change, but there's no absolute. So there are days where I can move like I feel like, you know, I'm in my teens, and then there are days where I can't. And it's always like just a little daily adventure, you know, reach out. But today I knew, like, let's rotate and find your stretch. So little spider fingers, finding that stretch between the shoulders. See if you can keep both hips down and just breathe into the back. So I had a moment of dread today, thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to do rebounding, because I used to teach rebounding on Thursdays. Come here, bud. Yeah. And then I realized it was recovery, but isn't that telling that my brain was like, oh, I don't think I can do it. So interesting. There's a book, let's take it back up and all the way over. It's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. Let's take it forward and just take a round stretch forward over your legs, breathing in and out. And yeah, it's not wrong. Sometimes it just wants to, I want to know who wins, and the score keeps going up. I'm not
There's something different about the way we are.
All right, come on all the way up. So in the event that you have a yoga block or something like that gives you a little bit of a heightened cushion, I want you to go ahead and use that for the next one. I'm going to use my little crescent. It is a yoga block, but it is a crescent yoga block. And this is from Bala, and the link is in the class notes if you are interested in them. They're just really more fun and pretty than anything else. It still functions as a yoga block, although you can do some kind of rock and rolling things. Really nice. So we're gonna sit on the block to give our hips a little bit of elevation. And I want you to find a standing position if possible with your leg. Now I understand my hip is super flexed, so if you have to go 2 blocks, that's fine. You could pile 2 on top of each other, or if you're using a square, you can either sit on it here or you can flip it like so, so it's a little higher off the ground. The goal here is to see if we can get our foot down. Also, it's an option to have the bend in your knee a little bit longer if you need it. I'm gonna be here. The other leg is gonna go out to the side. So my sits bones are really grounded into the block, and we're doing kind of like a little, what might be referred to in yoga. I mean, again, I'm not a yoga teacher, but it's like a little crouching tiger pose, usually done not supported with a block. Well, sometimes, I think. In any case, we're gonna do it like this. So your knee is pointing up to the ceiling, and so is this one. The 2 caveats are just to not have your knees rotating inward, because we're trying to get a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. Yes, Dick, it's a great choice for the 2 blocks, or you can even do it in a chair, honestly. I just wanted to offer you a little more intense stretch. So you're reaching your hands towards the ground, and again, like you could use your pillow here for a little extra space. Think of growing up through your spine and then hinging forward at your hips. Now, it's not going to be a ton of movement, so your spine just goes forward on the diagonal. And I wish you could see him sleeping. I don't have the flashlight cam on him today. He's like, so your spine is forward on your diagonal. You're reaching your sitting bones down into the blocks. You're not leaning forward so much that the blocks are tipping either, okay? And then you just want to see, is it possible to reach out with length first? I'm going to give myself a little space in the hips by moving my foot out. So that's the first one. I am kind of pressing this knee back as well, so lots of opening in the hips. And then once you've found your diagonal reach, then you can maybe bring it forward into a rounded shape. And we're just going to breathe here for a moment. Taking your inhale and your exhale. Starting to use your breath to imagine that you could possibly offer space into your hips, your inner thighs, around your knees, your ankles. Sometimes it's helpful to kind of think about your breath being a certain color. So maybe you breathe in the color purple, and then you breathe out the color orange, and that allows you to just kind of adjust and maybe metaphorically move some of your tension out with the color you're breathing out on. All right, let's start to reach down through the sits bones and roll all the way up. We're gonna keep the position for a moment and then take your hands on one side or the other of your leg. Now, as soon as you turn over, this might be it, and I get it, right? We're gonna just, again, try to reach forward with our chest lifted, and then come on forward and reach. Joyce, my pups have squeak toys and our tail wagging so loud. I love you too, puppies. I love you. I've been doing this thing, you know, when it gets cold, it's really hard to take your walk out. All right, if you're there, you can let your head hang over. If there's any more movement for you, we're just gonna breathe here. Make sure your left sitting bone is still reaching down though. Don't tilt yourself so far so you can feel that oppositional energy of the stretch. So, you know, this, what we call our stupid mental health walks that we have to take every day, and also the dog walking. It's hard in the winter, it's hard to motivate. So I've been playing a game with myself lately where I'm doing like a Joan Rivers fashion police, but with dog jackets, because I don't want to do it with humans, right? So I'm just like, so every morning on the way to work in school, my son and I will be like, oh, 8 out of 10, dog jacket, absolutely. The colors, the puff, everything. Let's roll up. All right, we're gonna take this foot and then bring it over. And so you're just kind of facing the diagonal now. With a little lift on the block, you can kind of lift yourself up a bit more. Hug that knee in and just reach your hand back. You don't need to be touching anything. If you can get to the floor, go for it. Sometimes you got to move your belly out of the way to work your way into the twist. You can look backwards. Read your comment. I think the dogs all know. It's funny because like I just meet a lot of dogs in my life, and I'm such a ridiculous dog person. I wish you all could have met my baby. He lives on my arm now. I actually wrote a children's book that I have to relaunch today or tomorrow on Amazon. I wrote it in 2014 about him. It's about a puppy who finds himself through the movement of a Pilates studio. He was, let's come around. Oh, shake it out. It's called Horatio Moves, and you'll find it on Amazon, but it's just not for sale. I gotta set up a bunch of stuff. I had to reopen the store. Okay, are you ready for the other side? Let's go. But Horatio, the line in the book that I wrote was, well, there's a couple of them that stand out. So let's stand into this foot. Let's find the other one. This is like a little bit, this leg is feeling things lately, so I'm gonna show you how I'm adjusting for myself. I'm gonna give my knee a little support on this side, just with a little pillow. It doesn't lift it up, it just kind of doesn't let it hang so deeply. Yeah, I forgot, you know, I wrote it in 2014, and I forget that we're all, that it's, I don't know, I tend to do things and forget about them. My creative attention deficit. All right, press back, stand into that foot, hinge forward, and here we go. Move it back a little bit more. Find your adjustments, make it meaningful for yourself. All right, so there is a line in the book that says, he looked down and noticed his two mismatched paws, one gray and one white. They once seemed like flaws. Who cares if I'm scruffy? I don't need to hide. I'm me, and that's great. He barks loudly with pride. And then it goes on. He found his true purpose to move from the heart, sharing joy and discovery with each body part. He knows it is true when he looks in her eyes, and this is the bedrock of everything I do. Movement is much more than just exercise. That's it. You didn't know you were getting a book reading from my brain, did you? Reach it forward. Ooh, I do want to do another one with flashlight. But flashlight was not as articulate as Horatio was. Flashlight is like, I like treats, I like meat, I like walking on the street, I like to sit on my seat. Yay, Mom. Right, Flashy? He's out. He's out with his paw covering. All right. Woo! Ooh, this side's tougher for me. Let's take it all the way over and then reach. Oh. Yeah, I've done a lot with the book actually. On that site, Tracy, you were asking about it for one of the classes. It's called PilatesAnytime.com. So I've gone out there a bunch of times, and one of the things I did is I recorded an audiobook of the book for them. And I actually the funny thing is, I don't know if Heather's here today or Christina will see this or any of my other Pilates people, but Pilates Anytime for a long time was a coveted, benchmark in a person's career if you were a Pilates teacher. And so, and it's not, it's not easy to get on there. So, there's some things that, you need to be aware, and they need to match the vision. Let's roll up. Let's bring it, this one, I'm telling you, today we needed this. Let's go over. Lift all the way up and then find your twist. I needed this one twist today. So the fact that I brought my dog on a plane with me to California to film on Pilates Anytime was like a pinnacle of the Pilates career. And I was just like, everyone's gonna hate me. But it was fun, and he did so well. They started howling. I know, they do. My mom's dogs go on, they have to be on, I don't want to say the S word, but they get dramatic and they don't eat, and they're tiny, so they have to be on very vigilant watch when she goes away, otherwise they're not okay. All right, let's get out of here. I love this song. Come on down and grab your ball or your pillow if you've got it. We're just gonna do a little back bending. Tracy, this is for you. I knew you would appreciate it. We're gonna find it on our kind of mid. There's a juncture between your rib cage and your lower back that I want you to find. It's like that transition space where there are no more ribs and not yet your pelvis. And so if you can see it there, that's what we're working on. And then we're gonna take our hands behind our head to support and just gently back bend over the top. It's gonna feel, maybe for you, for me it's a little tight at the beginning. And then when you come up, we're pressing our ribs down. So I'm not really doing crunches per se. It's more along the lines of wrapping, extending, finding, your motion in your spine, feeling the support, feeling a little bit of the pressure, and then coming forward. So you can work this at whatever cadence you like. It's meant to open up your front. Because of the placement of the ball, you might experience a little diaphragm release. Let's take a couple breaths here. Just wrapping and reaching. And it's not uncommon to be a little shaky here. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with your strength. It's more along the lines of kind of resetting. Good. If you want to move that ball to a place where it's in between your shoulder blades, you can just kind of move your hips forward. And then this is also really nice for a chest opener. I just don't think we deserve dogs, honestly. They're like such a miracle. Somebody said the other day, "Dear Apple, we don't want our smartphones to get better. Just figure out how to make our dogs live longer, okay? That's what we want." I was like, heck yeah, that's what we want. If it's possible for you to go back, if you can reach your head to the ground, sometimes just giving yourself this opening is nice. Arms up or arms out. It's a big kind of stretch for all of the muscles around your diaphragm, your abdominals. We've worked hard this week, so between our cardio stuff on Monday and our arms, I like that we can do these slow formats here as well. As you can imagine, it's not always easy to do it with a video. All right, let's get ready. Hands behind the head. Press your ribs into the the ball to come up. And then the last thing we're gonna do is place the ball under the hips right here. So find it kind of right underneath your pelvis. Do whatever you need to do to get there. And then we're just gonna do an opposing hip flexor stretch. So if you don't have a ball, you can actually do a block. I would do it like the flat way, like so. And if your hips are open, super open, you could do 2 blocks if you wanted, or you could do the block the upright way. Actually, it would be interesting to do it here, but I'm gonna stick with the ball right now. So let's bring your, oh my God, Colleen's here. We're talking about you the whole time, we miss you. Pull your knee in, and then slide your other leg out. Now, I want you to keep the sole of your foot connected to the mat, okay? So don't go out so your leg's hanging in space. For this one, you wanna just reach it forward. At least your heel stays connected. And then we're gonna really think about keeping your hips heavy against the ball, pulling your opposite knee in. You can hang on to the back of your leg as well. And then it's like you're looking for opportunities. So as your hips and quads start to release a little bit or relax a little bit, sometimes you can make your way into a longer position without taking your foot off the mat. I can't read like this. Hello, my friends from Washington. Yes, we missed you today, Colleen, but you've been here the entire time. We've even been talking about the dogs missing you. You both are such a beautiful love story. Yes. All right. We'll just take, so my toes are off, but my heel is still on. Sometimes you wiggle your toes, you can get it a little longer. Yeah. We're getting closer to the end. I can't believe it. Yeah, ish. We'll get there. Breathe in through your new sinuses and your nostrils. See if you can take that leg a little farther. If you got the balance, sometimes it's nice to just open this other leg out. I don't know if I have the balance. Gotta counterbalance yourself. So the goal for the ball or the block, anything you're putting under your hips as you're trying to extend the other leg, is you have your quadricep muscle, then you have your psoas muscle, which is deeper. It kind of like goes back to the back of your pelvis. And within your psoas is your iliacus muscle and your psoas muscle. So it's called the iliopsoas. Now, a lot of us will just kind of like kick a leg back and grab our heel and go into a quad stretch. And we might feel some tension in our hips, but to get to that deeper muscle that really kind of helps, if there's such a thing as resetting the length, which is debatable scientifically, but we often feel better when we get a little length in our hips. If we bring ourselves into a little bit of a tilt with a lift of a ball or a block or a foam roller, or with a pelvic tilt backwards, we can sometimes get deeper into that muscle. I don't know if you're feeling that depth as we go a little longer. In any case, it is time to go to the other side. So I'm going to ask you to just gently kind of rock your pelvis back and let that knee come into your chest. This can be pretty intense. And just FYI, some people experience an emotional release when we do hip work. So if you find tears or even like inappropriate laughter coming up, it happens. You know, they say that sometimes the muscles that are closer to your visceral organs, again, scientifically debatable, but can hold emotions. It's not exactly like that. The reason why I say scientifically debatable, let's start to stretch out the other leg, is like there are some people who really, they like to leverage these statements and they like to say, oh, you're holding all of your trauma in your hips. And then, you know, you might spend 10 years and $10,000 trying to release the trauma in your hips when really you just needed to stretch them and maybe do some therapy. You know, so sometimes the fantastical woo-woo approach is helpful because if it can draw you to awareness that like maybe when you feel heavy emotions, you grip in your hips and maybe you can interrupt that pattern, sometimes that can be helpful. But when we have somebody from an outside perspective being like, oh, your body is somehow wrong, I'm just not convinced that it's super helpful for a healing process. And I say that because I spent like 3 years believing that I was too scared to step into the future with my right foot because it was, you know, hurt or in pain and whatever. What I needed was an MRI to tell me that I had tendonitis and that I was able. And so like whether or not that MRI was part of me stepping into the future, debatable, right? But it's just like I love woo, I love mystical magic, I love fantasy, I love all of it. And I also want us to remember that we are the best resource of information for our own body, and to not get too attached to the fancy stories, you know. How are we doing on this leg? We're almost there. I really need this stretch on this leg today, so I hope you're enjoying as well. We're gonna get ready to meditate next. All right, let's just slowly bring it back in. I might go back and do another round of that later, just FYI. Let's take our ball out, let's release. Take your arms out to a T and just take the knees over to the side. Oh, that might feel different for you. Whew. And then go ahead and come back to the center and take it to the other side. And then I'm going to invite you to do what you need to do to make your way up to a seated position. You could absolutely use the blocks. And we are going to get our candle in front of us. And something is not connecting with my my little camera, which was supposed to be focused on the candle, which is why I was a little late to class. So in any case, I don't know that I'm going to be able to put the candle on screen, but that would be super cool if I could. Let's just get ourselves comfortable. Oh, when am I? Oh no, keep going, little flame. Let's see. Are you doing it? Nah. Let's see. All right, get comfy, everybody. We'll just keep it as is. All right, if you need a pillow, please take a pillow. You need something warm to wrap around your shoulders, please do so. And we're just gonna do a object gazing little practice to hone in on our breath and kind of just finish out the week. I know we've got one more day, but this is what we do here. So you want the candle in a place where you can actually like gaze at it. If you don't have a candle and you can't really see mine, which is hard, I know, I'm just gonna invite you to take any object, anything that you can look at that might have details that are visible. It could be a little tchotchke or a crystal, it could be the carpet even, it could be anything. Getting cold in here. So, come comfortably into a seated position. Try not to blow out your candle in the process. Feeling your sits bones grounded. Take my mic up. Oop. There we go. It's gonna get cold in here. All right. And then just rest your hands wherever you like them to be rested. I suppose you could do this one laying down, but the point of this practice is really to be able to focus on an object. So we will be keeping our eyes open. And you just want to be in a space where you can let your arms relax. Have a level of posture that isn't asking you to hold a position for a certain amount of time, meaning you're balanced on your sitting bones, your legs are open, just relaxed. And then we're going to begin simply by paying attention to the flame. And so the goal is not to do anything other than give over your entire attention to the flicker of the flame. And of course, keep breathing. I want to just begin to notice what it is you're seeing or witnessing. You can blink your eyes at any point in time to bring it into a different sort of focus. If you are looking at a flame, you might notice the different hues within that flame itself, the orange, the yellow, maybe the white or the blue. Maybe there's an absence of color at some point. And just noticing how the air makes the flame dance. And as with all practices that require concentration or ask for focus, in the event that you have any disruptive thoughts that start to intrude on this experience, we just want to think of them as clouds, maybe floating over the flame or the object that you're looking at, but continuing on. So it's natural for our mind to wander, and the training of the mind in mindfulness is not to eliminate the wandering, but it's to strengthen the focus in the presence of your mind wandering. We're just going to be here for another minute. Always watching without judgment, just with a keen sense of curiosity. You can keep your focus on the flame as you start to deepen your breath. Just becoming more aware of your sits bones, however they're seated. If you found yourself kind of drifting into a deeper relaxation, I want to encourage you to try this one out, maybe over the weekend. It's nice to put on your favorite music or, just have a little bit of a distraction so that you can create a nice space for the concentration and just focus on the flame. And when you're ready, we'll just start to deepen our breath and bring a little movement back into our spine. It's nice, right? I think that often with meditation, there's such a stigma surrounding what it should be. And as with most things, I tend to take an approach that everything counts. So focal points and points of direction or observation have long been used as methods of deepening our ability to focus. And so this was obviously a quick practice, but I think it's just when you can get the ultimate goal, if there is one, is to offer yourself an opportunity to drop into your body, allow your breath maybe to soften or slow into a more calm cadence, and just experience that sense of just calm for a moment. And or the challenge of finding that tiny little pinprick of calm in a world full of chaos, right? So I think that sometimes we can think of meditation as like an escape or a disconnect, and I would encourage you to actually think about it as the exact opposite. Think of it as an arrival to a place that can provide you with some really good support, as well as a reconnection with yourself. Because when you can facilitate that, I'm not saying you can avoid challenges in life, because you can't. It is just much more available for you to navigate through those bumps in the road when you know you have tools. I listened to a podcast from about 6, almost 7 years ago. And some of you may or may not know this, but I live a sober life, and I'll celebrate 8 years of sobriety in February. And so it was a podcast from some of the early days, and it was interesting to hear about how important meditation was at that point in time for me. And throughout the years, I've kind of ebbed and flowed with my practice. Sometimes it's really intense, sometimes it's super easy, like a deep breath or watching a candle for a few minutes. But it's just a really nice reminder for myself of the journey of gathering your tools up. And so one of the things that the group I was in that we did in early sobriety is we would have a top 10 list of comfort tools that were specifically designed to help us with our nervous systems, especially during the times where we were more inclined to, want to have a glass of wine, or, feel like we were going to crawl out of our skin or something like that. And, my journey with drinking is not at all dramatic. It was just something that wasn't serving my health and needed to go. And so I think that just looking back and seeing how important those tools were, and also recognizing how they evolved over the past 8 years, it just was a really, it was so much gratitude for the processes we go through to get to where we are. So if this is, oh, wonderful. It's really good. I don't have any judgment on those of you who imbibe, but it's just nice to know when there are other folks out there too who are enjoying the sober life. It is, in my opinion, life is really sweet on this side. So I want to just thank you all for joining me today. Top 5 for you. Wow. Trophy time. A great way to, I wanted to make this hip focused. I do think that a lot of times when we are able to move our hips in harmony, we actually affect our shoulders and our necks too. So hopefully that felt like it got all the pieces and parts. Thank you, Dick. I really appreciate you. And we channeled Colleen. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Yes, thank you. And thank you for holding the space for my story. It's interesting. You all see the chat and what happens in the chat. And I think one of the principles of health coaching is that instead of restricting, we tend to crowd out. So you look at the behavior you don't want, and instead of saying, I don't want that and I'm going to stop doing that, which is very hard to behavior change on a dime, you look at the behaviors you do want and you try to engage into as many of those behaviors as possible, so the space for the thing you don't want is kind of not available to you anymore. So I feel like that's exactly what is happening in this chat, is that we're crowding it out. And I really appreciate that. You all, it's been, we talked about that 1 year anniversary, and we've been on such a journey, just trying things out and expanding, and you've kept showing up. So you have my deepest gratitude. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope that you'll come back to the mat over the weekend. Thank you, Tracy. Yes. All right, my friends. Good work today. If you need any repeats, go back and repeat them. You have my blessing. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you back on Monday. I don't remember what the class is, but it's up there. I gotta go minute to minute sometimes, right? All right. Take good care.